Hello, everyone. Welcome to the MTL Sports Podcast. We are on episode 14, the day after the NBA Finals. So you might be seeing this episode either late Friday night or early Saturday morning. Today's episode is going to be pretty short. It's not a lot going on in terms of news for this week. We do have our continuing NBA series, the regular grading series. Tonight we will go over the Boston Celtics and the Los Angeles Lakers. We will see, how the regular season went and what are their off-season plans. And then we will finish off a rapid fire, but we will have a jam-packed rapid fire for you. So make sure you stay tuned. Today's episode with our NBA regular season grading series. Let's start in the East with the Boston Celtics. You know, they just had their Game 7 loss. I think it was Monday night of this week against the Miami Heat. Game 7, lost in TD Garden. It's a lot of things, a lot of whispers, a lot of rumors going on in Boston just because of how they went out, even though they were down 3-0, they managed to push that Game 7. And there's a lot of narratives going on this summer. We'll see if any of them are actually true or are them, most of them just smoke. So, Lawrence, I'm going to kick it off to you first. Give me your grade for their regular season. And I guess overall, what moves should they make if they want to make it back to the Eastern Conference Finals?
Well, in terms of star power, they're not losing. Keyword, they're not losing anything. Other than Grant Williams. I guess maybe you want to include Mike Muscala. But regardless of that, I mean, there's certain players they can keep easily, like Gallinari's could probably sign back at a veteran minimum. I don't think they'd have a problem with that. He didn't even play this season, so you don't even know how he fits in the roster. But he does help them provide a little bit more three-point shooting threat. They like to shoot a lot of threes, but they don't like to make a lot of threes, so he can help them in the department of making more threes. However, looking at the whole roster, I mean, you're going to have to look at it in the terms of, do you want to keep Brown or Tatum? Because you get the grade for this season, it's really hard to grade it because, you didn't win the whole thing, but only one team can win the whole thing every year. But you did make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, and you lost in a Game 7. And we're not going to say how you got to that Game 7, but you lost in a Game 7. So, I mean, you got to give them a B. It's like you were there, you didn't get your A, but I can't fail you, and I can't say you did horrible because you could have been the Bucks, so you could have went out in the first round, you could have went out in the second round like the 76ers. I mean, there's multiple things that you could have had happen to you. You made it as far as you did, which was the penultimate, which was the last four. So in terms of NCAA basketball, you made it to the Final Four, and so it's a big ask, to make it to that point. Regardless, in terms of record, you had one of the best records in the NBA. So I gotta give a B minus, a B, even though what's to come of your team is like an F, because it's like, dude, it's like you have really important players you can't lose. Like you have Brogdon, Smart, and White. I would say that are the future. Like you have to keep on the team in order to keep, a good bench / role player, thing going. Robert Williams, you may or may not keep for another big man who can do, that can do the things that you need a big man to do, but not score a crap ton of points. Because they're not asking Robert Williams to go out there and score, big points. He's supposed to go out there and get the rebounds. I mean, Al Horford's going to retire soon, so you don't have to worry about him in the future. So, but the problem is Do you do it where you have two guys that are making over 600 million? And then when you have two guys making over 600 million, how do you can't afford Smart, Brogdon, and White. So then you're probably not going to keep Grant Williams because he's probably already going to be too expensive as it is anyways, based on his having his defensive threats. And then I'm going to have to sacrifice some defensive parts. Like the only way the team can fully work out in the future is kind of just getting rid of one of the stars. Do you want to go with the cheaper star, which would probably be Brown, or go with the more expensive star, which is Tatum? Which one does your fan base? Because at this point they're basically equal. Which one does your fan base like more often? I think
Yeah.
the edge goes to Tatum because of what's his son's name?
Deuce.
I think he has the edge because of Deuce, which it's kind of a shitty thing to say, but I'm sorry, Brown, but you ain't got no kid walking on the court every other night to get the fans behind you. So yeah, I mean, going forward, it's like, dude, what do you do? Because I want to keep winning games, but I can't win games if I don't have any talent on the field. But I can't put any talent on the court. Sorry, not field on the court. But can't pay anyone to come, be my talent. And
Mm-hmm.
they're not gonna magically raise the salary cap for you guys. And if they did that, then other teams are gonna have a stock load of depth, and you're not gonna have any. So you either become an extreme top heavy team, which works until you get to the playoffs, and then you're going to run into a team, kind of like the Heat, in which you have a little bit of depth, or run into a team like the Nuggets, which is why they're both in the finals. They have a bunch of depth, to get you through the first couple rounds, and then when you're in the finals and you're in the conference finals, it's literally your stars are playing 40 minutes a night, like so. The depth's just going to get you there, which is how both of those teams got to that point. Now, the
Yeah.
Heat have taken some L's along the way with losing Hero and stuff like that, but he was part of making it there, even though he only played one series of like 3 games. So
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So B, I'm on the same boat as you.
yeah, because it's so hard to give him anything less, right?
Yeah, because it's not a failure if you look at everything that happened. Like their last offseason was just horrible. Like the Ime Udoka situation and like how that turned out, and basically everyone was flaming them, and they got bad press for a while. And then even when they hired Joe Mazzulla, some of the news outlets, you already know, ESPN is flaming him because of some of his past. Specific reporter. I'm not going to say their name, but specific reporters always like to attack, you know, uh, people of color. I don't know why, but they just do. But so they had all this negativity surrounding them, and then somehow Joe Mazzulla, Tatum and Brown, all those guys still second in the East, made it all the way to Game 7, in which, like I said earlier, they were down 3-0. They could have got swept, or legitimate swept, but they pushed through, won 3 straight, forced a Game 7. It sucks that they lost at TD Garden, at home, but hey, like it's hard to win 4 games straight, so you can't be mad at the outcome. So I'm gonna go a little bit above a B. I'm gonna go B+. I feel like basically the odds were stacked against them. They had a rookie head coach. He literally only coached for a couple years anyway before that, so it's not like he's an experienced like assistant, or like it's not like he had a lot of experience in college either, because I'm pretty sure he only coached like a year or two in college. So uh, I give them a B+. In terms of this off season, I like you hit on it earlier. I think it's make or break it time. We gotta Not we, but the Celtics have to make their decision. Are we gonna pay two guys? Are we gonna pay the law firm $600+ million over the next 5 years? Brown is eligible for like I think close to 290, and Tatum's eligible for over 300 for his supermax. So you gonna have to pay two guys two supermaxes, and according to the offseason guide on ESPN, they wouldn't be close to that second apron of the new CBA until I think the 24-25 season, I think. But you still have to like carefully navigate. Oh, it's 25-26. So, but even still, you have to navigate like, okay, if you want to do any additional moves, if you want to improve your roster even further, like that's when it becomes tricky. That's when you start seeing the 3 and 4 team trades that, really don't really happen. So it's a tough decision. And I'm going to throw two proposals out there. And I've said these to a couple people, and they seem to like the idea. In terms of Boston, I feel like the real need here is a point guard, because I feel like, yeah, Marcus Smart gets the job done. Like in terms of point guards, he's an average one. In terms of like overall player, though, he's like a good player because, as you know, he won Defensive Player of the Year last year. He's streaky from three. He can guard basically 1 through 3, sometimes 4. So like in terms of a player, he's good, but in terms of a point guard, getting players in their spots, making plays, he's not that. And that's one of the reasons that the Celtics found themselves down 3-0 is because they're hit or miss from three. You saw it in Game 7. They started 0 for 12 from three. They need someone to run the offense and get, Tatum and Brown or whatever combo they run forward. They need someone to get them in their spots. So I think there's two good trade possibilities out there for them. Number one, I think you go after Trae Young. Trae Young, there's all this trade rumors around him all season. It started in the offseason last year. They wanted to move off of him just because, the way he affects their culture. As you can see, he got his coach fired. Coach, damn, I forgot his name. But the coach left or got fired. They hired Snyder. Snyder so far says, he's impressed by Young and wants to work with him, more in the future. But to me, that's all smoke and mirrors. You never know what's going to happen in the NBA. But in terms of their fit, I feel like Trae Young on the Celtics is like one of the only teams that he would actually fit on, because you can surround him with everyone who plays defense. Like everyone on the Celtics plays defense for the most part, besides Peyton Pritchard, all right? But if they can cover enough for him, just like how Miami covers for like Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson, if they can cover enough for him, I think it's a perfect fit. Trae can shoot threes, he can score at will. He distributes really well, great passer. This is exactly what they need. He can get Tatum, in his spots because, obviously they're going to trade Brown. So they can get Tatum in his spots, can get Horford in his spots, can get Time Lord some easy lobs, some easy, points down low. I feel like it's almost like a match made in heaven. And I think my second trade possibility I'm looking at, if I was the Celtics and Brad Stevens, I think I'm looking to go west. If you don't want Jaylen Brown to stay in the East, ship him west. It's probably a good chance. Send him to Portland. Hey, Portland has a number 3 pick. They have Anthony Simons. Dame said he doesn't want to play with any more young developing players. Hey, let's trade for Anthony Simons. Yeah, he's more or less like a lesser CJ McCollum, younger, probably more upside than CJ. Can score, can distribute. He can do pretty much all the things that CJ did, but I guess because he's younger, there's more upside to him. So trade Jaylen Brown for Simons in the 3rd pick. That way, you have your point guard. Hey, take that 3rd pick. If you want to flip that, you can flip it. If not, hey, go draft Brandon Miller. That's your replacement for Brown. Or hey, go draft Scoot. That's your replacement for Brown, because Brown can pretty much play 2 or 3. So I feel like it's a win-win for both teams, because Portland needs a second star, and Jaylen Brown on many occasions have basically asserted that, he wants to be a star. He thinks he's that alpha guy. And I think, as Dame is aging, Brown can just fit right in and just let Dame like coast in spots. And hey, Jaylen Brown can take over at points, So I feel like those are two possibilities. I don't know how you feel about, those two trades, Lawrence.
My thing with the Trailblazers, right? I think Simons is. I think he's just in the way, like you said. I think he's just in the way there. I think I like the Portland trade a little bit more, because they can get Jaylen Brown, and then once you got Jaylen Brown in there, I I mean, I did see something. I did see a report the other day in which Damian Lillard, he's trying to toot the horn of Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
And if he was somehow able to swing Jimmy Butler there as well, Portland kind of is nasty at that point because like you're probably going to keep Nurkic. So you got an okay big man as long as you keep him healthy enough in time for the postseason. And you basically got a front was it a back court that's pretty strong. I don't think you'd be able to keep Grant at that point. I don't know how you keep all the contracts under wraps, but
No.
somehow maybe you finagle Grant. I don't know. Maybe you just told Grant like, "Hey, we're not gonna be able to pay you this year, but we're gonna put something so good here that you're gonna win." And I still think the problem with that team would be defense. So, I mean, who's to tell? But you know, the things that you brought to the table are you're not wrong in anything that you've said. Like the Trey Young makes sense, and then you can push out Marcus Smart to a shooting guard type of role, in which he's not really a shooting guard. He's more of a defensive shooting guard. He's just there to play defense and shoot every once in a while. He's not the big. He's not going to be the strongest liability on your team or anything in terms of offense, but he's on there for one strict purpose, and that's to play defense. And some teams like the Bucks use Grayson Allen to play, and Grayson Allen's out there to play defense and to shoot
Yeah.
threes. Same thing Smart can make himself. And then, Smart is obviously a higher caliber player than Grayson Allen. And, the Bucks won the most games in one season or won the most games in the Eastern Conference using that kind of mindset. So, I mean, it works out. I think it makes sense. Um, kind of some players that like one player in particular I was thinking, but I wasn't even thinking about like how contract wise it was going to work out or anything.
Okay.
But someone like Jordan Clarkson playing with like Tatum and Marcus Smart makes a lot of sense to me because like
Yeah.
Clarkson is like the biggest liability on defense, but Smart will make sure that doesn't matter. And then in terms of like Tatum just going ghost and not wanting to score sometimes, well, Clarkson he'll shoot it. He'll just say screw it and shoot it.
He's chucking him up.
And Clarkson gets assists too. He gives people the ball as well. And obviously it worked out giving the ball well because what's his face was able to have a comeback player that was most improved player of the year.
Marketing.
Marketing was able to have most improved player. And it wasn't because he did something amazing awesome. No, Clarkson gave him the ball in timely possessions. And Clarkson got other guys involved on his team, and he made some guys look better than they were, just getting them the ball. I mean, he's no Chris Paul in terms of passing, but he's no snob either. But in terms of contracts wise, I don't know how you can, maybe you move off of Brown, someone takes his contract, and then you take some bench depth somehow, and then you get Jordan Clarkson in there because Clarkson is one of those players who offensively is great for you, but defensively he's such a liability. But when you're a good enough defensive team like the Boston Celtics are, you can kind of mask that like you would if you had Trey Young, and then you wouldn't have to give up like Trey Young money. You can give up Jordan Clarkson money, which is not too high but not too low, but it also lets you still keep your depth around you.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like every team like has a player that they get picked on, right? It's not often that you have a team that doesn't have any weaknesses defensively that you can take advantage of. So I feel like Clarkson's a good fit, kind of sharing point guard duties with Smart. If somehow they can't make a big move with Jaylen Brown, hey, just swing for the fences for Jordan Clarkson, make the money work, see if he can try that out for like a year, maybe two, see if you know improve, get better that way. And then I think the third scenario basically is just to keep put, bring everyone back. Basically, Peyton Pritchard, he wants out. Reportedly, he wants out. He wants to be traded. So get whatever you can for him. potentially sign and trade Grant Williams because I feel like at this point he's probably like a cost saver. You probably can't bring him back, for what he's worth. Is he Mr. $20 million? I don't think so, but he's definitely going to get like at least like 10 to 15 probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like they're going to be back in a similar situation next year, but I feel like long term, and we've both hit on this, like you can't just keep going to the Eastern Conference Finals with your two big guns and not get over that hump,
100%. So like moving on to like the Lakers. I mean, I'll start starting the pot. I mean, I think they got it. I think it was like an A. Like halfway through the season, they weren't even supposed to make the playoffs, and they ended up making the Western Conference Finals. Now, did they get swept in the Western Conference Finals? Yeah, but
Yeah.
in terms of Game 1 of the NBA Finals, you kind of saw why a little bit. Like the Nuggets look really, really good, especially at home. They look really good at home. So I think that first road game will really, really say a lot about the Lakers. Because if the Nuggets go into Miami and slap them around, then we're looking at this Lakers team again and going, an A is very, very correct. Because you got slapped around by the team that slapped around the other team in the NBA Finals, or you got slapped around, but like you weren't even supposed to be there to begin with. So regardless of anything, I'll slap a big fat A on them. Like I'm not gonna go as far as an A plus. A plus is for when you win the finals, But like that's an
To
A.
get to the finals, I think it's A plus.
Or they got there, that an A plus. I'm not gonna be so mean because they got swept to give them an A minus because for one they weren't supposed to be there. So I'll
No.
just give them a little A. Just tell them, you did some good. But in terms of like, the pieces that you're gonna keep, I mean, you got a lot of things that you might have to try to figure out. Because you said who they're gonna possibly lose. Like, probably gonna lose Schroeder. Yeah, Austin Reeves. I mean, after that playoff performance, he deserves some money. You're going to want to pay him that money. Really was important during the playoffs, but you're going to want to pay him that money. Malik
Yes.
Beasley,
Cutting bait. Cutting bait.
you're probably going to get a small contract. Troy Brown Jr., how the hell are you even still there? He can let him go. Russell, let him walk, or you sign him and trade him like you said. He might be a good package for like a 17th pick. Trade that out. Disappointed that they haven't used Scottie Pippen Jr. because he was pretty good at Vanderbilt. They haven't touched him or used him at all. They might let him walk, and he might join some other team, become bench depth. Because I think he's definitely a good enough player to become to be someone's depth on the bench.
Oh yeah.
Definitely not a playoff player, or not at this point in his career, playoff caliber player. But I mean, he did some good things at Vanderbilt, and I remember watching him at Vanderbilt. So I kind of don't understand how he hasn't really started at all. That doesn't make sense. Obviously, Tristan Thompson's gone. Like he's only there because of LeBron. And then Lonnie Walker. To be honest with you, they didn't use him correctly.
Not until the second round. Yeah.
Just don't think they used him correctly. Not even the whole season did they use him correctly. I mean, crap. Let him go back to the Spurs.
Go help out Wemby.
Popovich knew how to use him. Let him go back to the Spurs. So, I mean, there's just so much, people that are going to be moved around. I think, you were harping on how good Rob Pelinka was this season. If he can figure this whole thing out and make him pretty good going into next season, then I'll buy into your Rob Pelinka. The love. I think somehow if you're the Lakers, you need to find a way to ruin the season of the Pelicans so you can get their first round pick and make it the best one possible. You got to figure out a way to ruin their season. So maybe send them D'Angelo Russell so they can suck even more. Something like that, because that number one pick, it might be essential in getting uh, Bronny Jr. Doing little Bronny. But I also don't know about that one either because I don't even know how much he's going to start at USC because
USC.
he doesn't fit into their scheme. I think it's just probably one of those like one and done years, and he's only going to college to start that education path and get his degree after he's been playing in the NBA for 3 years. So
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's a season for them. I'm pretty sure they started out like 2-12. Somehow they made the play-in as the 7th seed. They won their first play-in game, and just a week ago, 2 weeks ago, they were swept in the Western Conference Finals. You know, you said it; they weren't supposed to be there. Uh, they have every right to feel good about the season. Rob Pelinka did a hell of a job at the deadline. I'm sorry to say it, but like Russ was, for the most part, the crutch that was holding them back. It just wasn't any good fit from the first day of the rumors that Russ was going to get traded there. I was like, no, it's not going to work. It's just not a good fit. Unfortunately, they made the move. They traded the rest of their depth. You know, they had guys like KCP, Kuzma go. The experiment didn't work. Somehow Palinka, started a new experiment. Got Rui, got D'Lo, got Beasley, got Vando, got all these guys, and somehow they made it to the Western Conference Finals. So no shame in losing, no shame in getting swept by the Nuggets. Really good team, probably the best team in the NBA. We'll see if they win the finals. I think not, but hey, they're looking really good. So I can't be mad at them right now. But yeah, I think it's an A grade, considering all the injuries too. Like AD was out for a good stretch. LeBron, of course, was out for a good stretch after he broke Kareem's record. He was still had that foot lingering. Probably going to need surgery this offseason, most likely, from what I'm hearing. So just looking forward, you basically got LeBron for another year, maybe two. He has an option after next year, so we'll see if he picks it up. If he wants to go play with Bronny, he has the option to. If they somehow get a chance to get Bronny, he's probably going to stay. We'll see how he's feeling. AD's on the same timeline as well, has the option for next year. We'll see how the Lakers treat that. So basically, for the Lakers, you're on like a 2-year timeline, basically. Plus, for some of these guys, you're probably looking a little bit ahead. Like Rui, you're going to match whatever, right? Rui, hell of a job in the playoffs. Prove he's like a starting caliber player. I don't know about all-star, but he's damn sure like a starter on any team, I feel like. Austin Reeves. Now, Reeves, I feel like, and this is not hyperbole, but I feel like Reeves is like a borderline all-star. He's basically like like a Simons. Like he's playing under a good player, so he's not going to make an all-star, but like if he had his own team, like he probably would be like a borderline all-star. Kind of like how D'Lo was like an all-star in Brooklyn for that one season. Like I wouldn't be surprised if like the Lakers all fall apart in like 3 years. It's just Austin Reeves if he like makes the all-star. Like I wouldn't be surprised. So they have two good talented players. Like he said, all these other players are probably gone. Beasley, they're not accepting his team option. He played like trash for like the last half of the season, or pretty much the last half of the games he was in. Gabriel, he's probably gone. Schroeder, he's honestly probably getting paid more money to go somewhere else. Tristan Thompson's back at ESPN. Lonnie Walker. Lonnie Walker is probably going to get more money elsewhere. It's just the nature of how he played the last couple of games. He just looked really well. Can probably give more to another team as a starter because he's probably not going to be a starter on the Lakers next year. He's probably at best be the sixth man. So hopefully they can keep Scottie Pippen Jr. He played well in the summer league. In the few minutes that he played this year and like mop up duty, he looked good to me. I feel like you keep him for another year or two, wouldn't hurt. So in terms of moves, I think, and I already said it, like you got to match Rui's offer, you got to match Reeves' offer, and I think third you have to choose whether you want to let D'Lo walk. And if you let him walk, you'll still have like your $12 million mid level. So you could go out and get a player like, I don't know, maybe go steal DiVincenzo from the Warriors. Like, he's a good 3-and-D guy. That's what you need, right? You need shooters. You need guys who can play defense. You could go steal him because you can pay him more than the Warriors because the Warriors don't have money, basically, under the new CBA. Get a player like Brook Lopez. Hey, Brook Lopez wants to play for $12 million. Bring him back. Brook Lopez used to play for the Lakers like a couple years ago, back with Magic Johnson was the president. So if he wants to actually go win a ring, or another one, I should say, hey, go to the Lakers, back up Anthony Davis, or shoot, you could probably even start if he wants to take a pay cut. Or second option, you got to sign and trade for D'Lo. So another name I'm going to throw out there, Simons again. It's a good fit. It just depends on if Damian Lillard wants to play with D'Lo. Probably not, but I feel like Simons is going to be attached to a lot of these potential trades. Maybe DeJounte Murray after this year, if they think going forward, the Hawks want to move one of their guys. Maybe Murray's the first one to go, and in that scenario, I'm not too sure. I think Murray has one more year, so they basically have to make the decision like pretty soon. Like, hey, are we going to pay both of these guys big money going forward, or hey, do we just abandon the 2-point guard look? So maybe you ship D'Lo to Atlanta. Who knows if they'll take him? I basically can't think of anyone else, but sign and trade for D'Lo wouldn't be a bad thing. Else, just let him walk. Use that $12 million for someone like a DiVincenzo, someone who can come in, start.
So to throw a monkey wrench and everything, I got a team in mind that I think that is gonna throw. I'm not gonna say throw a bag at, but they're gonna throw quite a bit of money. At your boy Reeves, and that's like the Sacramento Kings because they got a lot of money. They got a lot of money, right? Austin Reeves doesn't have to play point guard. He doesn't have to play point guard. And Murray, the guy they picked up in the offseason, he's a power forward, but he can also play small forward. Sacramento Kings are going to lose Harrison Barnes, or they're going to sign Harrison Barnes again and maybe get him to a lesser contract. But regardless, even if they re-sign Harrison Barnes, he can come off the bench maybe, or I don't know. He's just a journey. He's not a journeyman. Sorry, he's just an Iron Man. He plays almost every single game. But like Austin Reeves on that team, I mean, if you just think about it, like you could maybe switch out Herter and put Herter on the second unit. Maybe Herter might not be okay with it, may not like it. But,
No.
you kind of were a liability in the playoffs. You kind of were part of the reason why they, didn't do too great. Outside of like the players that the Kings are losing, like the Kings are pretty much okay with half their team walking. Like there's no one that's exceptionally, awesome on that depth. They're losing like Harrison Barnes. You'll keep Terrence Davis. You probably keep. You're not keeping Dellavedova. You're not keeping Alex Lynn. Trey Lyles maybe. Metu probably walk. I mean, all these other guys, they're going to let him walk. So like you're going to have a lot of money. A lot of money. You got Malik Monk is your sixth man. And you got Davion Mitchell coming off the bench. So he's your defensive guy off the bench. Push Herter's ass to the bench. And you get Austin Reeves in the starting unit. He does both. He does offense and defense. But the Lakers going to want to match or be able to match something that someone like the Kings throws at him. Because he could slide right in there perfectly with Barnes, Fox, Sabonis, Murray, and that's like and they don't even care about defense anyways. But regardless, like he can still do it. But that's just like a deathly starting unit. Like starting unit sounds scary, and then not even just the starting unit. They still have money, so they'll still have Malik Monk, Terrence Davis, and Davion Mitchell at the bench. I mean, if they just solidify a good big man. I guess Holmes is a little washed at this point. If somehow, some way, they could trade like Holmes in a 24th pick, or Holmes in one of the picks they got, and just get him off the books, and then have even more money, and to just get like a like a good secondary big man. Like, oof, it's a little scary of a roster. I just think there's gonna be certain teams that they're gonna give Austin Reeves a lot of money, and the Lakers gonna be able to match that money. Like if Austin Reeves, the Magic wanted him, it's like, dude, the Magic can give him a lot of money. The Lakers can't afford to give him. And did this playoff run, because it was kind of magical, was this playoff run just so good that he is gonna, not demand, but he's gonna have earned that money. So it's something that we have to look out for because yeah, it would be all sunshines and rainbows if they're able to keep him. But the problem is trying to keep him and getting everyone's little grimy hands off of him.
Yeah, well, good thing he's restricted. So, you know, whether it basically comes down to if Jeannie wants to pay more luxury tax. Um, at this point, I feel like she could probably afford it for 2 more years, and then afterwards, basically on the LeBron timeline, can basically reassess like, hey, got too much payroll, we can cut. So it all depends on how her finances are. She's still the controlling owner of the Lakers. If her purse is still big, hey, uh, take back whatever contract teams give up for Reeves. Other teams can offer up to $100 million. So hey, just match that $100 million offer sheet, keep him. If not, hey, clear space for Kyrie, which is option number 4. Basically, you can clear the deck, let Rui go, let Reeves go, let everyone go, and hopefully Kyrie will sign for a discount, which I think is highly unlikely. But we never know with these Lakers, so I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think there's probably like a 95% chance that they keep both of their top guys, but you never know with the Lakers. You never know with Jeannie Buss. But seeing how close they got from how bad they were in the beginning, I feel like will re-energize her, like give her like a newfound like passion, like hey, like we're actually like a player or two away. Like I think I can like figure out how to pay these guys for like another year or two. So we'll see if she can muster up the pennies. I'm sure she can. She's like a billionaire. They all can. So that ends our NBA regular season grading series for the Celtics and Lakers. We will hear from us again next week on that topic. But for now, we will move on to rapid fire. We have a huge pot of topics to go over, so stay tuned to Let's kick off some rapid fire. For tonight, we're going to start with the Wiz, just like last episode. So our the Wizards' newly hired president of, I guess, Monumental Sports, Michael Winger, basically oversees the Wizards, the Go-Go, the Mystics, all that good stuff. He has hired his second in command, basically the guy who's going to run the day-to-day operations of the Wizards. He has hired former Atlanta Hawks front office personnel. I think his name is Tyler. Oh no, Travis Schlink. I hope I'm saying that right. He's worked for the Hawks for a couple of years. Starting in 2017, he was basically the overseer of drafting Trae Young, Kevin Huerter, some of those guys. Made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, of course, that one year, beating the Sixers in that Game 7, in which Ben Simmons has never shown back for. So, Lawrence, I'll kick it off to you. So the Wizards, they haven't found their GM per se, but this guy is basically going to run the Wizards because Michael Winger has a ton of other things to worry about. So how do we feel about this hiring? And basically from his success, like, will it translate to the Wizards?
I think it's fine, dude. I mean, we haven't had anything, outstanding come to us anyways recently. And I mean, this guy is what? I mean, at least he's made it to, the postseason consistently, each year and in and out. Now, the success in the postseason is maybe a little, could say, a lack there to be desired, but I mean, not everyone gets to go to the postseason and have a great, amazing show every time. But the fact that you make it to have that ability to make the run is, I think, the important part. And I think that's something that they're doing right, is the fact that they're getting these opportunities in order to make the runs. And it would just be kind of nice to see the Wizards in the postseason with, I wouldn't say sort of a chance, but with the aspect of getting further than the first round kind of thing. That's just my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, I agree. We definitely. I mean, I love that the Wizards are being more aggressive, starting with taking Michael Winger away from the Clippers. Like he was an excellent president of basketball operations, made some really aggressive moves, and now like he's like a week or two in the job, he's already making aggressive hires. Like he's taking this guy from the Hawks. Now, even though the Hawks kind of redid their front office, this guy was still like as an advisor. So I guess, is it really a steal? No, but it's the fact that they're going out, or Winger's going out and getting like well known like guys who have been there, done that, in terms of, hey, let's get a guy that's been to the Eastern Conference Finals. Like I've been to Western Conference Finals. Let me get a guy that's been to the Eastern Conference Finals, um, and we'll go from there. So we'll see what the GM looks like, but I'm already excited because if this is the guy that drafted Trae Young, I'm all for it. He found Kevin Huerter. They got the other kid from UVA. Damn, I forgot that kid's name. They drafted that kid as well, so I think it's only good things from here for the Wizards. Moving on. Unfortunately, we have some more bad news coming about Ja Morant and his whole gun situation. Basically, Adam Silver gave a little presser yesterday before the first NBA Finals game, and he said the league has uncovered additional, evidence or additional information regarding Ja Morant in that incident, or even incidents, I guess, surrounding his whole IG Live, I guess, gun flash a couple weeks ago. Lawrence, how, like, in terms of punishment, like, is this basically confirmation that Silver is going to drop the hammer?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it basically confirms he's going to drop the hammer on him. But I mean, we can't be surprised he's going to drop the hammer on him. I mean, it's not to say that someone shouldn't be an idiot, but like, maybe find better friends, kind of thing. I would say. I mean, it's not your best, not your best friend, but one of your friends. You're an athlete like this, shouldn't be putting you on your IG live. You're just trying to be cool. I mean, yeah, you want to be cool and stuff, and but you don't have to show the world that you're trying to be cool. Like, I don't know. We were talking about it earlier. It's like, dude, some people make so much money they don't know how to behave. They don't know how to, act right. I mean, come on, man. Like, you know how many people in the world would give up like the gangbanger lifestyle that he's trying to act like he is? Like, how many people would give that up just to like do nothing besides play basketball all day and train for basketball? You get paid millions and millions and millions. Dude, any gangbanger would be like, oh my God, sign me the freak up real quick. It's like, dude, it's a no-brainer, but you just can't get it through your head that like, dude, it's not worth being an idiot over, kind of thing.
Yeah, 100% agree. Like, not even any gangbanger, like literally anyone off the street. Like, if you offered them $200 million to play basketball, of course they're gonna say yes. Like, even they could be on 600 pound life, bro. They'll lose 300-400 pounds so fast, so they can play basketball. Like it's a no brainer. Like it's a lifestyle, a career that a lot of people would love. Like almost anyone would love to have, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I agree. The hammer's getting dropped. How many games? I feel like at this point, like his tone of voice made it seem like it's going to be the whole season. Will I be surprised if it's like, I'm going to guess like anywhere from half the season to damn near the whole season. Like that's the range I'm going for. It's going to be at least half, if not the whole thing.
Up
I
until
think
the
he's
All
just,
Star game, yeah.
yeah, because I think, and even Silver said during the same press conference that he thought that 8 games would be enough to get through to him, but obviously he's kind of like, upset and frustrated that 8 games didn't do what it was supposed to do. So we'll see. And once again, it's just the NBA. They have a brand to protect. They don't want him doing dumb stuff, promoting dumb stuff. The NBA isn't about guns and showing a lifestyle that their players aren't living. It's not not a legal standard. So let's just take away all that about 2A. Like, we're all 2A supporters, so it doesn't matter that he wasn't charged with anything. It's the fact that a lot of kids look up to him, a lot of little kids, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years old, and you're promoting something that you're not. Like, you never were a gangbanger, so why are you promoting that? You just being dumb. And like I was saying off camera, like, some people just don't deserve a lot of money. Like, dumb people do dumb things, but when you give dumb people a lot of money, things like this happen. So
Yeah, I mean, it's spot on. Like, just do the correct thing. Like, if you wanted to play with a gun like that, you can do it. Just don't put yourself out in the open of it.
yeah,
It's like, dude, people shoot guns in the backyard all the time. They're just
no
not
one
recording
cares you have
themselves
a
shooting in the
gun.
backyard.
No one cares you have a gun. Just don't flash it in a song and act like you're a gangbanger doing this and that. And like, no, just don't do that. Moving on, more positive news. Phoenix Suns have found their coach. So basically, we only have one coaching vacancy left, and it's the Raptors. But the Phoenix Suns have found their coach after Doc Rivers basically took out his name of the head coaching race in Phoenix. They decided to land on Frankie V. Frank Vogel is going to sign a 5-year deal with the Suns. Lawrence, how do we feel about this hiring for the Suns? Are they going to be right back in the fold next season?
No. Well, I mean, yes and no. I don't think Frank Vogel does anything exceptional for them. I think he's just going to be there. I think he's just going to be the guy that lets Kevin Durant and Devin Booker run the show that they're trying to run. Maybe Chris Paul. I think the more interesting question is how much of importance is Chris Paul next year to the team? Is he going to be playing in every single game? Is he going to be taking half the season off? Like, what importance does Chris Paul play in the team? I think the more important signing, or not signing, but I guess the more important move was the Monty Williams to the Pistons. I thought that was more, I thought that was the better deal. I thought that was the more,
Oh, he got a bag.
oh, he got the bag, but like, he's got a lot of young players to coach with, which he's found kind of success with that. He really only got booted to the curb when the Suns got older. When the Suns were young and, naive, not naive, but, younger and coachable, more coachable, before they thought they were the shit. And I think that just kind of comes with Kevin Durant. When it was McCall Bridges, show there with them, like, they did an amazing job with them. They went to the finals with them. So, like, I think Kevin Durant spurred that a lot. And now Monty's going to go to a team that has no identity, is super young, and I guess extremely coachable. I think he'll do a great job there. So when you're talking about the Frank Vogel hire, it's like, dude, they hired Frank Vogel because he was able to appease LeBron. And, Kevin Durant wants a coach that will appease him. And that's how I see it. He probably one of the better coaches left out there. I don't think they were gonna want to play with Doc Rivers anyways. If you're talking about Kevin Durant and everything, I don't think he's gonna want to play with Doc. I think Frank just lets him is a good yes man for them. But he's good enough coach that he'll put some good talent out there. I also thought Frank Vogel got the short end of the stick. Because he took all the heat for the fact that they signed Russell Westbrook and it didn't work out. Like, he took a lot of the slack for that. But
It wasn't his fault.
It wasn't his fault, and he just got dealt the cards. He did win a bubble title, so.
Yeah, he won a title, so he has some, I guess, coaching pedigree there. He was also the coach of the Pacers that, went toe-to-toe with the Heatles back in the day. Even took the Heat. I think the Heat, they went to Game 7 one year in the East Conference Finals. So yeah, Frankie V's a good coach. With him, your team's going to be good defensively. Now, they're going to need some defensive players because they really only have Ayton, and Ayton, his motor runs half the time, so he's only going to play defense like half the time. So basically, with Frankie V there, he's going to have to rework this roster in conjunction with James Jones. I still think, you have to figure out what you want to do with Ayton. You got to figure out what you want to do with Chris Paul. I mean, Chris Paul's getting up there in age, can't really play defense, and Ayton, like I said, his motor doesn't run hot all the time. So you got to figure out if all of these players can coexist in Frankie V's system. We'll see. I think they'll still be in the mix for next season. I feel like they could easily, they just hunker down defense. They can make the Western Conference Finals, but we will see. And speaking on Monty, yeah, like he got a bag, and good for him. He got the short end of the stick. Obviously, losing to the Nuggets wasn't his fault. The Nuggets are just that good. Even the Lakers got swept, so like he should feel good about winning 2 games against the Nuggets. We'll see what he does with the young guns. Extremely coachable. Cade Cunningham. They got the 5th pick, so we'll see who they take at number 5. Will it be one of the Bate twins? Will it be somebody else? We don't know. But good for him. He deserves a second chance, and he's got the bag, and it's basically for like 7 or 8 years. So just give him time to cook, and he'll cook something good. So my hat goes off to him. And yeah, I think that's the end of rapid fire for this for episode 14. Lawrence, do you have any closing comments? Anything you want to get off your chest to the viewers?
Nothing today. I'll probably see you guys next week. I'll be by myself next week. My lovely host tonight will be on a nice, long, little awaited cruise, and he's been, excited about. So we'll see everyone next week, and I'll see what we can talk about next week. We'll see what's in the news, and we'll make everything happen.
Okay, you heard it there first, folks. Programming update: Lawrence will be solo dolo next week, so stay tuned. It'll be a great show, and then I'll rejoin you guys the following week. I think for me, Heat fans, just hold out. The storm is looking pretty dark, but we won't know the exact nature of the series until Game 3, in my opinion. Game 1, we got torched, we got cooked, but there were some things we can take away. So let's hope Jimmy comes and shows up for Game 2, and we'll see what happens in Game 3. That's it for me. So let's wrap up. This is episode 14. Please like and subscribe to videos on YouTube. Please follow us on TikTok and Twitter at MTL Sports Podcast, and continue to support us. We thank you guys a lot. And with that, I think this episode is coming to a close. Bye, everyone.